Here are the 3 secret strategies for raising all the capital you need for real estate investing. My name is Mathew Owens, California licensed CPA, full-time real estate investor, and I've raised over $150 million for real estate over the last 15 years and flipping over 1,000 houses, raising money for tons of different syndications where I'm an operator. I do a ton of different real estate, and these are the 3 key things that you need to learn in order to raise all the money you need for real estate. So let's get into it. Number 1, learn how to protect your investors. The number one most important thing is never to lose investors' money. So you have to learn how to protect your investors. And that starts off with understanding the risks. Do you understand the risks of the investments you're trying to raise capital for and how to mitigate them, more importantly? So do you know all of the little risks involved, and have you gone through them in detail to be able to outline each one of them and how you're mitigating that specific risk? There are tons of risks out there. There's market risk, individual market risk. There's macro and microeconomic risk right now. Tons of things going on in the overall economy that you need to be careful of and be aware of. Do you understand the lending risk that's out there right now, and as well as the operational risk associated with the actual deal, actually performing on the deal? It's one thing to understand the numbers, it's another thing to actually perform on that deal in itself. So understanding the risks, how to mitigate them, is key to learning how to protect your investors. Do you understand the financial projections that you have in place and the assumptions that you've included in those financial projections? Okay, so are you being conservative on those projections and those assumptions that you're putting in place? Have you included the right vacancy rates, the right repairs allowances, the right increases in expenses, the right lending risk mitigation? All different types of things to understand when it comes down to the financials. You need to be able to explain your financials in detail to your investors and go over every single number in your financial projections. Come up with your break-even analysis. One of the most important things to do. If everything crashed and everything went wrong, where is that break-even to where investors start to lose their money versus just break even or just have a lower return if everything goes wrong on your deal? You have to be able to explain those things to investors. The next piece in protecting your investors is understanding the paperwork. Do you know how the paperwork works and how it protects your investors? If you're investing in promissory notes, for example, do you understand how to secure their money by the property with the right deed of trust? What the provisions in the promissory notes say in the first place? All of those little intricate items that an investor may ask questions on. Understanding that underlying paperwork. What about on syndications? Do you understand the private placement memorandum and all the provisions in there? Do you understand the operating agreement and all the provisions in there? Do you understand what the rights of that operator are, that general partner versus the limited partners? Do you understand the structuring of the deal with regard to preferred returns and splits and incentives for performance involved in those deals? So understanding your paperwork and the structure of your deal massively helps your investors mitigate their risk and protects them, okay? And then lastly, with regard to protecting your investors, who's your team in the first place? That is a massive, massive thing when it comes to protecting your investors. Who's your team? What's their previous performance? What's their previous experience in running an operation like this, where you can show this is the team that you've built, this is the actual experience that they have, and more importantly, here is all the due diligence steps that you've done on that deal to make sure your investors are protected, or what your team has done to make sure that your investors are protected. So number 1, learn how to protect your investors. Number 2, create and manage a contact database and a lead nurturing system for your investors. So without this, what's the point of going out and networking or marketing and spending tons of money on marketing without having the right lead nurture system and contact management system in place, so that the back end system, once you've developed that relationship, you have the highest chance of converting them into a capital source for you and your deals long term. Okay, so are you one of those investors that goes to the networking events and takes a business card and forgets to follow up? I can tell you it's 90 to 95% of people never follow up with the contacts that they get at networking events, or the contacts that they get consistently through the phone or through referrals and things like that. Really, really important to be able to have that right follow up. And you can't do that without the right contact management system, the right CRM system with that proper contact management where it's outlined in detail. You're putting everybody into a database. You're also tracking all the intricate details associated with that particular person, what their likes and dislikes are, what type of investments they're looking at, all their contact information, how many touch points that you've had with them, and having that right understanding all inside one place so that you can go back and reference it in the future and have that proper timed follow-up long term to continue to build that relationship. Okay, do you have a strategic plan for that follow-up as well? So really, really important, right? You don't want to just go out and say, hey, I'm going to follow up with this person. What are you going to say in the first place? Hey, I know you never contacted me, but I'm following up again to see if you're interested. No, you need to lead with education. You need to be very strategic with what you're going to say afterwards. If they don't contact you and they never respond, what are you going to say in that instance? What if they responded saying, I'm not ready yet, but I'd like to learn more? You're going to respond in a different way. And it's all through education, because what are you doing through that education? You're building the trust up, and you're building the authority to show them the knowledge that you know and what you can bring to the table to help them with their own financial freedom, with their own cash flow. Most private investors just want cash flow. They don't want to have to do any work, and then they just want that cash flow. So understanding what their needs are and how to mitigate risk for them, and how to contact them consistently and consistently provide value is absolutely important. And the next piece with regard to your database and contact management system is, where are your leads coming from? Are they coming directly from referral sources? Are they coming from your outbound marketing or other affiliates that you're working with? Are they coming from your current database that you already have them in, that you've developed long term? Find out where they're coming from and focus most on the areas where you have the highest pop of private investors that you're working with and the highest close ratio. I could go get 1,000 new contacts off of TikTok, but that doesn't make them private investors in the first place. I might have a 1% of those people that are interested in actually investing, versus if I go to a networking event and get far less leads, but convert a much bigger percentage of those, can be absolutely key. So understanding where your leads are coming from and the conversion rates of those leads based on where you're getting them is great knowledge to know, so you focus in the right places for finding the highest and best qualified leads for your own internal capital raise prospects. And are you networking in the right groups in the first place? Okay, so you could be going to tons of groups that don't have the right mindset, don't have the right understanding of business. So you got to be networking with the people that have a great mindset, that have a higher level business knowledge, that are doing things on a whole nother level, that are completely successful, that are way better than you, so that you can learn from them and develop the resources that they have and get the referrals that they have, so that now you are on that whole nother level too. Remember, just like everybody says, your net worth is equal to your network. It's absolutely true. You need to be able to network and have the same mindset as the people that are extremely successful. So going to those networking events is key. And number two, again, create and manage and compile that contact database and lead nurturing system to increases your chances of actually bringing in that capital. And finally, number three, take the time to build long-lasting relationships through education and building trust through that education. Okay, do you lead with that education first attitude, or are you a hard sales pitch type person where you're pushing them and pushing them? I can tell you right now, you have no right to ask for the sale until you've actually built enough value and trust to be able to ask for that sale. Okay, you have to build the trust first they're not going to invest with you, or a very small percentage will, without building the trust. And you actually don't want them to invest with you unless they trust you, because there are going to be headaches later if they don't trust you. So you need to be able to go build that, long-term rapport with them, that long-term education to build that trust and authority with your private investors. Do you set routine meetings with your investors to build that long-term relationship and that long-term rapport? So normally there's psychological differences where if you meet with people 12 times and they feel like they get to know you and know you really well personally, versus that 1 or 2 times, or maybe you stop following up after the 3rd time and stop meeting with them. Consistently meet with your private investors, even if it's a 10-minute call, even if it's a text message, even if it's, any kind of communication. You want to consistently be meeting with them. You want to consistently be setting up calls, see how they're doing, see what changes are happening in their life, all of that type of stuff. And those big investors, they're the ones that are going to start off small with you with a small $25,000 or $50,000 investment, and then they'll blow up into millions down the line once they get to know you, because normally they take baby steps before they get to know somebody and invest bigger amounts of money, because they've been burned in the past. They've gone through the ringer on those things. So those higher level investors have, been through those experiences. So it's really important to develop those, long-term follow-up procedures so that you can actually meet with them consistently. Okay. And then how specifically are you going to add value to your investors through the right contacts in the first place, or through the right education in the first place? So you're going to go through and say, hey, this guy is a syndication investor, or this girl is a property investor. This person likes investing in promissory notes. So you're going to gear your education towards them and what they're most interested in, so that way you have the highest chance of bringing them to the table, and you're building the knowledge base for them about what you know about that topic through that education consistently. And what ways are you vulnerable with them, and share them about your personal life and who you are as a person. Most people don't invest in a deal. Yes, they look at the returns, they look at the risks of the deal, but they're investing with you, because you could have a great deal with a really bad operator and have a really bad outcome. You could have a bad deal with a great operator and still have a good outcome. So they're investing with you first. How do you handle your investors when there's losses involved? How do you handle your investors when something goes wrong? All of those things are extremely important to show your investors, and it's extremely important to have those personal connections. What are the things that you guys have commonalities about? Do you both like basketball? Do you both like poker? Do you both like certain things in society? Do you think the same? What are the specific commonalities that you can have deep connections with to build that rapport long term? So in recap, first thing, learn how to protect your investors. Number 2, create and manage a contact database and lead nurturing system. And number 3, take the time to build those long-term relationships with people that trust you, and do that through proper education and building that long-term rapport. So if you guys like this content, please like, subscribe, hit that notification bell. Really appreciate it, and look forward to talking with you guys soon. Are you interested in taking your real estate investing to the next level and creating financial freedom through real estate? Then you can join us in one of the following ways. First, you can take one of our free webinars. We have a free webinar on how to raise capital. We have a free webinar on how to analyze deals. And we have another free webinar on how to market and find off-market deals. So really the 3 keys to real estate investing. Number 2, you can join us on our exclusive email list, and you'll get tips and tricks on real estate directly to your inbox. And number 3, if you're interested, we have a 6-month course on real estate investing that'll teach you every aspect of real estate investing, including how to create financial freedom in your life. If you want a master's degree in real estate in 6 months, then this course is for you. We teach all different types of strategies related to real estate investing, from fixing and flipping to promissory notes to syndications raising capital, how to run a business in the first place, how to market and find those deals, tax and legal strategies, and the most important thing is how to create financial freedom in your life and replace your job income with passive real estate income to create financial freedom in your life. If you're interested, you can click on one of the links below. Look forward to seeing you on the other side. Thanks so much, and I'll talk to you soon.